Welcome back to the show. Peter Lang and Linda Tenpas are our guests tonight. They are the parents of Nick Lang, the young 15-year-old boy that died in ministry custody. They've been spending an hour with us. Thank you so much for giving us Nick's story and telling us about what type of kid he was and what he'd hoped to do in his life. What I wanted to do is end out this hour. I got a few minutes here. I wanted to basically give you the floor to make a statement, let our premier know, or let our the minister of this particular ministry, Stephanie Cadu. Is there a message that you want to put out to these people? Because it seems that we keep talking about deaths of young people, young children, teenagers in custody, even younger, yet nothing ever seems to happen. They always say that they've got it under control. Is there anything you want to say?
Well, biggest thing for me is I think parents need to be part of the process. And I don't care if the parents are marginalized individuals, if they're drug addicts, if they have mental health issues. They love their kids too. And they deserve to be included in the process. So when you're screening a child for a program, if the parent wants to participate in that screening, they should be allowed to participate. I was invited to participate by the partner agency in Campbell River, but then told by the caseworker, nope, that's not what you're supposed to do. That's not how we do business.
Do you think if you had a chance to participate, you could have told them and said, hey, listen, he's got a history of self-harm here?
I definitely would have. Yeah. I mean, I know my own child.
Yeah. And you know, that right there, no parent knows their child better than the parent themselves.
Exactly. But the ministry seems to operate from the perspective that the parent is the problem and they're the enemy.
Right.
And the instant something goes bad, you see them pointing the finger at the parent. They're trying to do it to us. They do it to other parents. They say, well, these are dysfunctional parents, or they did this, or they did that. And it's completely the wrong way to go about your business. You should be running your ministry in the sense that, on the principle that the parents love the child. That doesn't mean they're perfect. They're going to make mistakes.
The ministry's there to help.
Yeah, and these kids love their parents too. Like Danny wanted to see his father. That's what was reported in the press. He just wanted to see his father before he committed suicide. His father lived in Gold River, and he was in Port Alberni.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he couldn't see his father. I mean, these kids want to see their parents. They want their parents to be part of the process. So that's one of the biggest things is that I've learned is that they operate under the principle that the parents are the enemy, and they should be frozen out.
Linda, what about you?
It's the same for me, and I'll quickly go back to when Nick was in Campbell River. I didn't want to disrupt his progress there, so I tried for approximately 4 days in a row to get a hold of his caseworker to see if it would be okay for me to call Nick, because Nick had left me several distressing text messages and phone calls, and it took him 4 days to get back to me. By the time he did get back to me, I called and the line was busy, and I later found out that's the same time EMT was there working on my son, and he had already passed away. So it was too late because this fellow was too lazy to call me back. It took him 4 days, and that's a very painful thing I have to live with for the rest of my life. The other main point I want to get out there is to Christy Clark and Stephanie Cadu. I recently went over on November 18th. I flew over to the island and sat in on finance committee where Mary Ellen Turpelafond presented her request for additional funds to look into these cases of not just Nick's case, but Alex's case, Carly's case, and was requesting, I believe it's 1.6 million additional funds because it's going to cost approximately $300,000 per child.
Right.
And I believe that this government, BC government, needs to stand up, and this finance committee needs to stand up and provide that funding. These internal investigations through MCFD and the one that Stephen Howell did, it's a whitewash. It's full of inaccuracies, and it's very difficult to read because it
makes excuses for the employee.
Yeah. And Stephanie Cadu at one point said she's going to implement all the recommendations in this report.
And there's 12 recommendations
in there,
isn't there?
Flipped from there a few seconds later in her interview and said, but I haven't read the report due to privacy issues. And I'm like, well, how do you implement it then, Stephanie? Like, I don't like how they're hiding behind privacy, that they're trying to...
Oh, it's the one thing they love to hide behind.
And that they're trying to intimidate us, and we won't be intimidated. We're going to go full force. And
it's a perversion of the spirit and the intent of the privacy law. Those laws are there to protect the children, not to protect the politicians.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, and most people know that too. Linda, Peter, thank you so much for being here tonight. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll have more Drex Live on the other side of this.